It's time now to take a spin with Headline Roulette. These are the most compelling, random, and interesting headlines that you may have missed from the past week. We look high and low to bring the country's top minds to help sort out the chaos. Today's headline dealer is post-millennial and human events editor-in-chief, our friend Libby Emmons. Libby, are you ready?
I'm all set.
Headline number one, at least 2 dead after Mexican Navy sailing ship collides with the Brooklyn Bridge in a very dramatic New York City crash. Wow. This was such a strange and a terrible story, obviously, but when I saw the video, I thought, no, this isn't real. This is AI. But this really happened, Libby.
Yeah, it sure did really happen. So this ship was docked in New York, and from what I understand, it was actually supposed to go the other way, but it lost power. It ended up going the wrong way on the East River, and it crashed right into that bridge. There's a lot of video circulating on social media that shows people on the shore just absolutely shocked, people running away as this was happening. And you can also see as the masts crumble when they come into contact with the bridge, there are crew members from the Mexican Navy who are literally just hanging onto the rigging, and some of them ended up in the water, which is absolutely terrifying. I think a
Right.
total of 22 people were injured. A bunch of those people were critically injured. As you said, there were 2 deaths. And this was a ship that was meant to be part of the 250th celebration of America next year. And it was actually on its way to Iceland.
Let's
Yeah,
wait.
it's kind of crazy.
So
Yeah.
many, so many things here. And there were even people who were mocking the symbology of it, right? This massive ship with this massive Mexican flag brushing up and being crumbled by the Brooklyn Bridge, because it appears the Brooklyn Bridge stood strong. It does not look like the Brooklyn Bridge was phased at all in this dramatic
No.
collision.
You can see even in video, traffic pretty much just continues to go by. They notice it. It seems
Right.
like you might notice it. The masts are there and then they're down, but it doesn't have an impact. The ship's masts were wooden masts. This is a tall ship, a representation
Right.
of the old ships that
It was a
we
beautiful ship.
used to sail, that Europeans used to sail the seas with. Gorgeous ship,
Yeah.
277-person crew, and I guess they're not going to make it to Iceland.
Unbelievable. No, apparently not. Ugh. All right. Well, headline number 2. As Springsteen and De Niro trash America abroad, the Kennedy Center thrives. I know you're right there in town. You get to see it firsthand. Is the Kennedy Center thriving?
The Kennedy Center is thriving. I actually was at a concert last week, and it was just great. It was a spectacular showing. There were a ton of people in the audience, and I loved to see it. I mean, it's great to take your kids out to see these classical forms of art and pique the interest, not only in the art form, but in the experience of the music itself, as well as the history that comes with these classic forms, symphony, ballet, all of these things
Yeah.
that we've had with us for so long. And De Niro was absolutely crazy in his speech at Cannes. He was out there talking about how the arts are diverse and inclusive and all of these things. But meanwhile, here he is, this white man who would unlikely be able to get his foot into the door that he has had his whole career in at this point. He doesn't check off any of the diversity boxes. You also had Bruce Springsteen out there yelling about democracy in Manchester, England, talking about how democracy is, is centered around shared values. And what we have right now in the United States is a people that is determining what those values are. There's been a lot of changes, and there's been a lot of changes in large part due to the generation that Springsteen and De Niro are part of. And now you have young people, and you have a lot of Americans saying, no, we don't want your polyamorous, relativist, anti-Christian, lifestyle anymore. We're not interested. We're going in a new direction. And these men are threatened by that.
Of course, which is why they run into the arms of the overseas audiences
Mhm.
weeping. But even then, I don't think they'll have a lot of comfort for too much longer.
No.
Headline number 3. Doctors say it's inconceivable Biden's cancer went undetected by his medical team, as Trump Jr. questions if the diagnosis is a cover-up. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was really surprising to hear that he has such advanced cancer. And of course, my prayers and thoughts are with Biden and his family. But how long have they known this? You definitely had some doctors coming out saying he must have had this at the beginning of his presidency. There's been a clip circulating on social media from 2022 rather, where Biden is talking about how the oil companies are the reason that he and so many people that he grew up with have cancer. And at the time, people were saying, wait, Joe Biden has cancer? And the White House was walking it back. So, did Joe Biden have cancer in 2022? Is that what's going on here? And with the discussion about the cover up of his mental decline really having reached a fever pitch, you had the release of some audio from Robert Hur's interview with Joe
That's
Biden
right.
about the classified documents case. You have the book from Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson dropping tomorrow, I think it is. You start to wonder, why did they release this information about the cancer diagnosis right now? Are you trying to cover up the fact that there was this cover up? And it makes you really wonder what else they were lying about.
Well, they were lying to us about, what he was signing and whether the president was signing these bills and pardons and all these laws in place by his own hand. This whole auto pen scandal is looking like it's growing into a much more serious story for the Bidens and the entire Democratic Party than it is currently framed. But again, these are all to play out. Libby Emmons, it's always a pleasure to break this stuff down with you. Thank you for making the time.
Thanks so much, Chanel.
All right, that's all the time we have. Be sure to tune in to OAN Live from your app on your smart TVs and your favorite streaming devices. You can also catch any Fine Point episodes you may have missed right there in the app with our video on demand feature. So spread the word. I'll leave you with this. We are usually convinced more easily by reasons we have found ourselves than by those which have occurred to others. Good night, Godspeed.